Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that's, absolutely crucial: how to turn a pile of data into a really clear and compelling story. And it all boils down to one thing: choosing the right chart to make your point stick. I mean, we've all seen it, right? That one chart in a presentation that's just a total mess of lines and colors, and you have no idea what you're supposed to be looking at. A bad visual doesn't just fail to make a point, it actually makes things more confusing. Well, we're going to fix that today. And this right here is the absolute heart of it all. Seriously, before you even think about opening a design tool, you've got to stop and ask yourself that one simple question. What is the story here? What's the one thing I want my audience to walk away knowing? Nailing that down is, without a doubt, the most important step. So here's our game plan. Just think of this as your data storytelling toolkit. We've got 5 main jobs that data can do, 5 main stories it can tell. We're going to walk through each one so you'll know exactly which tool to grab from the kit, no matter the situation. First up, the absolute classic data story, showing how things change over time. This is what you'll use when you want to track progress, show growth, or see how performance has trended over a few months or even years. And here they are. These are your go-to charts for the job. You've got your standard line chart, the area chart, and that really useful line and column combo. They all tell a story about progression, but they each do it with a slightly different flavor. So how do you pick? Well, it's not random. A simple line chart is perfect for just showing a clean, clear trend. You'd pick an area chart when you want to show not just the trend, but also how the different parts contribute to that trend over time. And you'll grab that line and column chart when you're comparing 2 totally different things, like say your actual sales numbers versus your budget goal. Okay, let's talk about story number 2. What if your data isn't really about a timeline? What if it's about making a direct head-to-head comparison? Like which product sold the best last quarter, or which of our offices is hitting its targets? For this kind of story, you've got 2 best friends, the vertical column chart and the horizontal bar chart. They pretty much do the same job. They just let you see in an instant which category is bigger or smaller than the others. Now, this is such a great little pro tip. It's subtle, but it makes a huge difference. Because most of us read from left to right, our brains just find it a little bit easier to scan and compare the lengths of horizontal bars. So if you're ever on the fence, it's usually a safe bet to go horizontal. And check this out. By doing one simple thing, just sorting your data from highest to lowest, these charts suddenly become amazing ranking tools. Right away, you can spot your top performers, your biggest sellers. The story just pops right out. It's that simple. All right, let's switch gears to our third kind of story: composition. This is what you need when you're not comparing totally separate things, but instead you're showing how different pieces make up one single complete whole. And this is where your pie charts, your donut charts, and your stacked bar charts really shine. Their entire purpose in life is to show percentage share. Think about market share between companies or how a department's budget is broken down. That's what these are built for. But, and this is a big but, you got to be careful with pie and donut charts. Here's the thing. Our brains are actually terrible at comparing the size of different angles in a circle. It's just not something we do well. So a good rule of thumb is, if you have more than, say, 3 or 4 slices, a pie chart is going to get really hard to read really fast. In that case, a stacked bar chart is almost always the clearer option. Okay, so we've covered the big 3, right? Trends, comparisons, and parts of a whole. Now let's dive into a few specialized tools for telling some of the more nuanced stories you can find in your data. So, have you ever wondered if 2 different things are actually connected? Like, does spending more money on advertising actually lead to more sales? That's a question about correlation. And for that, the scatter plot is the perfect tool. The way the dots cluster together, or don't, can instantly show you if there's a real relationship there or if it's all just random noise. Now, this one might seem a little obvious, but you really shouldn't underestimate how powerful it is. If your data has anything to do with location, sales by region, customers by country, put it on a map. It gives your audience instant context that a plain old bar chart could never, ever provide. Okay, this is going to sound a little weird in a guide all about charts, but here it is. Sometimes the absolute best visual isn't a chart at all. It's just a simple, clean table. The trick is knowing when it's the right call. And here are the 3 golden rules. A table is your best bet when 1, you're mixing different units, like sales in dollars alongside quantity in units sold. 2, when your audience needs to be able to look up their own specific row of information. And 3, when the exact numbers, down to the last decimal point, are more important than seeing the overall visual trend. And hey, let's not forget the incredible power of just keeping it simple. If you have one single, all important number to share, like your total revenue for the year, don't bury it in a chart. Just make it big, make it bold. Sometimes that's the most powerful visual you can create. All right, we've picked the perfect chart for our story. We're almost there, but we're not done yet because this last step is what separates a good chart from a truly great one. It's all about designing with purpose, making sure every choice you make helps tell your story. Listen, color is not just decoration, it's one of your most powerful communication tools. Think of it like a highlighter. Use nice, neutral, muted colors for all the context and the background data, and then use one single, bright, attention-grabbing color to point your audience's eye exactly where you want it to go, to the core insight of your story. This quote just perfectly nails the golden rule of data design. The goal is always maximum clarity with minimum clutter. Before you finalize any chart, just take a second and ask yourself, does this grid line, does this label, does this shadow actually help someone understand the story? If the answer is no, get rid of it. So there you have it. That's the toolkit. Now you know how to go beyond just dumping numbers on a page and start telling really powerful, persuasive stories. The only question left is the one you should always start with. What amazing story is your data just waiting to tell? Now you know how to go find it.